everyone, it's Jen. Welcome to my channel. Today's basic project is going to be this gift bag, which is essentially a wrapped box. If you can see inside here, the base of this is just a small open box that I've wrapped this scrapbook paper around and then just given it some trim and a handle. So what we're going to do is this piece and this piece here were a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and I cut it in half to make two 6 by 12 pieces. And this one was already embellished, so I had to do very little on this one. But since this is plain brown, I'm actually going to do something to this here very shortly. But first, let's go ahead and grab this piece, which is our box for the base of our project. This piece here is 5 by 6.5, and all we're going to do is on every side, we're going to score at 1.5 inches. So 1.5 there. We're just going to rotate to all 4 sides at 1.5. And that's all the scoring we have to do for this project. Now let me go ahead and fold on these score lines. You want to use a thicker or definitely a cardstock for the base for this part of the project, because you want something that's really sturdy, because this is, you know, the foundation of the project. This part, the thinner the paper, almost the better. This is a cardstock and it's pretty thick. And it works, but when you're going to fold it around the box, and you'll see when I actually assemble it, it's easier if the cardstock isn't super duper thick. Okay, I grab my scissors. On the long sides, we're just going to cut in on those score lines. You don't have to be super duper neat on this part because you're not really going to see this. You'll see the inside, but when you put your goodies in there and so forth, you don't really, no one's going to pay attention to that. What we want to do is I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to use my tape runner for this part of the project. All I'm doing is putting some adhesive on all those 4 corners, on those 4 flaps, and then we're just going to fold them in to the long sides to form our box. Okay, and there's our box. All right. Then what we're going to do is this piece is going to just line up and wrap around just like this, and that's going to give us the shape of like our example here. But before we do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do some embellishing on this paper. Since it's plain, it's pretty, it actually has some kind of almost like a textured look to it, but I want to do something else to this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to decide where the front of it might be, and you can kind of see from where I've creased it here. I know that's approximately where the front of it is, okay, in this area right here. So what I'm going to do, let me grab my supplies. I am going to do some heat embossing. I'm going to take this big stamp. I am going to grab my Versamark ink. This is just a clear, sticky, like watermark ink. I'm going to really go over this stamp very well with this clear ink. And then I'm going to place the stamp in the area of where the front of the project is going to be. Try to center it up the best I can. I'm just going to give it a really good press. You never want to take your stamps and like wiggle it, but pressing them down is okay. So try to get all that ink transferred to that cardstock. Then we'll lift this up. You can kind of see where the ink is, and it looks like it's stamped pretty well. So now what we're going to do is, this is heat embossing powder, and there's all kinds of colors. There's gold, silver, I mean really so many colors, but this is the gold. I'm just going to sprinkle this over our powder, over our ink, kind of, like you would glitter or something like that. Just try to hit all those ink points. I'm going to put the extra back here on you can also come in with a paintbrush, and where you don't want any of that powder, just wipe it away with the paintbrush. I think most everything else is part of the design, so we're going to leave it at that. Okay, I'm going to put this back into my container. This stuff lasts for a very, very, very long time because you don't use very much of it when you are actually doing a project. So now what we need to do is you need to get a heat tool of some kind. This is mine. I also have a larger heat gun. I see a little bit right there that probably doesn't belong. I'm going to go ahead and just wipe this away. There's actually embossing, what would you call it? A little embossing tool that's like a powder tool that you would go over your project first before you lay down your clear ink. And that's supposed to eliminate any of this unnecessary powder sticking to where you don't want it. But I didn't do that. So anyways, heat tool. So I think everything's good now. All right, so what we're going to do is you want to use a pretty, especially on a thicker cardstock like this, you want to use a pretty strong adhesive because you want this to really stick. And when you're bending it around the box, it's going to put somewhat, a good amount of pressure on it to pull away. So what we're going to do is I'm going to lay one strip of adhesive about an inch up on the bottom, and then on whichever side I want to finish it out, which is going to be this side, I'm going to run a strip of adhesive right along that edge. Okay, now I'm going to pull both of these bottom pieces off. I'm not going to remove this yet because I don't want that sticking, I don't want that getting in the way while I'm trying to attach this piece. And I'm just going to pick a spot. I'm going to go probably towards the middle of the back, because I can kind of see where I made my crease when I was trying to plan things out. I want to line it up the same because I want this to be in the front. So I'm just going to bring it around. I'm going to line my piece up to the bottom of my box, bringing it around again, lining it up the best I can, keeping lined up all the way around. And then when I get towards the back here, I can peel this off. And I'm going to close everything together. I'm going to bring it up, and we're going to be stuck together just like that. And that is our box. And the embellishment is on the front. Looks very, very good. Okay, I'm not going to do any other embellishing to this right now. I'm probably just going to put some like gold ribbon on here for handles, or maybe just a piece of paper actually for a handle. But for right now, this is all I'm doing. This is the basic project. This is a rectangle box. You can make a square box and do the same thing. Same idea. You're just going to have to adjust the measurements and the scoring of your box on the bottom. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.